Hi everyone, hi Instagram. It looks like I am live on Facebook too. I'm going to be going back and forth. I get a couple of live streams going. Hello everyone, my name is Brenda Mallett. I am a serial entrepreneur. I currently teach teens how to start their own online business, but for years I've had a digital marketing agency, and amidst all of this coronavirus and the I'm currently in self-imposed quarantine, so I've just watched a lot of people get really nervous for their businesses, and I'm going to speak today in the entrepreneurial world, specifically for restaurants and maybe some retail stores. I'm going to do some live brainstorming, so I wrote down a couple notes, but a lot of this is going to come off the cuff. What I wanted to do is share some of my experiences and some of my expertise, and maybe help give you guys, if you own a restaurant, if you're in the restaurant industry, even if you're a waitstaff person, whether you're the cook or you're in charge of bringing produce to these restaurants, if you have your own clothing store. Like, I'm going to do a little bit of brainstorming today, and I want to maybe give you some ideas how to manage and keep going through this very unpredictable time. So. And if this helps you, great. If it's not something that fits for you, that's okay. I just thought I would come on here and share because, I'm home today, and I'm doing a lot of training and getting some stuff going for my teams. But as an entrepreneur, it hurts my heart that some of you may be struggling or experience a lot of anxiety. So here we go. I'm going to start with restaurants. And I have a couple versions that I'm doing of this. I'm doing a video later for kids on what they can do in their neighborhood to help support businesses. And I keep hearing people say, go out to your restaurants, go support them, buy gift certificates, but nobody's actually giving you tangible action steps, right? If you're the restaurant owner, or if you're somebody who is making wages off of tips, and all of a sudden the cities are saying, restaurants are closing, only do takeout, or that sort of thing. This could seriously impact you and your family, right? So what I am going to do is do some brainstorming. Again, if you're just the waitstaff person, you can share this with the business owner. You can share this with your manager. Let's come up with some ways to keep this going, guys. So right off the bat, if you are in either of these industries, you're going to hear me say this, and it's exactly what I'm doing right now. I'm going live. I'm talking to my audiences. I'm talking to people who need to hear a message. And before I even start talking about going live, let me just back up a second and say I have gotten dozens of emails from people who want to tell me what they're doing during this crisis. And I can tell you 70, 80, 85% of them, I haven't heard from in a year. But everybody's home, so now they're like, I really should get caught up on all those emails. Most of them I don't care about. The 15% that I do care about, I'm going to pay attention to. So if you haven't visited your audience, if you haven't gone live, or don't send out just an email on what you're doing. Give them tangible solutions. And that's what I'm going to talk about right now. Give them a way to get through this that helps them, right? You need to be the problem solvers in their world right now. And I apologize, I'm going back and forth. I got a live stream. Hi, Instagram over here, and I got Facebook Live going over here. So try to stay with me as I volley and speak to all of you, because I want to get this message out there to as many people as I can. So you're gonna have to start communicating. And I don't mean sending out an email. I mean going live a couple times a day. For whatever reason, my live has just ended on Facebook. So let me go ahead and just talk to you over here on Instagram then. This is why I did 2 lives, because you never know when this is gonna happen. So hopefully my Zoom is still recording, so I can, let's see, give me 1 second, I'll be right with you guys. Yes, it's still recording. So I'm just gonna keep going and post it to you guys later. So, okay, so here it is. So I said you gotta communicate, right? You have to do live several times a day, but don't just go live without having a plan, right? So think about what your industry is. I've got a couple examples, and like I said, some of this is coming from the hip. I'm just throwing some ideas out there because I want you to brainstorm for your business. But I know this, like, you're in crisis mode. Like, what do we do? How do I keep my employees? How do I manage food coming in and food going out, and lack of customers, right? So you maybe are not thinking clearly. So I want to give you some ideas. Sit down, find a calm moment, whether it's with your team or by yourself, and see if you can come up with what fits. Okay, I've come up with a couple scenarios, and I'm just going to share those with you and maybe brainstorm off the hip, like I said. So you're going to need to come up with a plan, right? So what does your plan look like? If your city is, or you think maybe soon in some kind of lockdown, I think it's really important for you to think about other ways to serve your community. So this might be just takeout or delivery. So say you've never had delivery in your store before. You need to super fast get on board with some of those delivery services, or your wait staff that is dependent on those tips for customers that are no longer sitting in your restaurant, offer them the opportunity to deliver, okay? Start asking them what roles what they can take on. And I know there's gonna be all kinds of variables like insurance and you know, timing and that sort of, I know that, but this is a time where we have to think outside the box. That's why I labeled this video, Think Outside the Box. So how can you delegate new roles and positions to people to keep them working, right? Come up with a plan for, now, typically people are eating in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening, right? I would, again, I'm just kind of flying off the hip here. I would come up with a strategy. You as a restaurant owner know what food you have coming in. You know what, or you can call and find out on your providers what's happening. Again, restaurants aren't my industry. I have a couple clients in the industry, but I don't know them intuitively, and I don't know them every nook and cranny like you guys do. This is your world, right? So I'm just here to help you brainstorm ideas and get the juices flowing. So maybe what you need to do is say, hey, we have a lot of meat coming in this week. We're going to offer this special, and this is what it's going to look like. Now, some things to keep in mind. We're talking not just single people or married couples, but families. So maybe put together, hey, this is our single package, this is our two-for package, and this is our family package. Start thinking of ways that you can deliver something, because what's happening is families are trying to figure out a lot of stuff right now. For you to come on a Facebook Live and say, hey, tonight's special is going to be this. It'll feed a family of 4. We've covered X, Y, and Z. And please order by 5 o'clock so we can have it delivered, or you can pick it up by this hour. You know, start to give them solutions to something that'll make their lives easier right now, because on top of having their kids home at school, on top of trying to work from home, on top of trying to wash their hands 72 times a day, this is something that they would love you just to take off their plate. Food pun intended, I guess. So think about that. How can you do some kind of package that will help them, right? That will just make this easier for them. Something else to consider, coupons. Like if you want them to do this a couple times a week, give them a reason, incentivize them. Listen, if you are looking at closing your doors for the next 3 months, taking $10 off the top of the order is going to be better than not having any revenue coming through the door, right? So how can you, and maybe it doesn't have to be off this, give them $10 off their next order, and keep doing that. Keep helping them through this time as they help you by keeping your restaurants and businesses open, okay? Something else to consider. So one of the examples I wrote down is the sports bar. If you haven't heard, we got no sports going on right now. As a sports enthusiast, I don't know what to watch. I'm like, I could watch reruns. I'm just, so the NBA, there's no March Madness. So like, what are we gonna do, right? So if you have a sports bar, and this is, I think, of all, there's a lot of restaurants that are gonna be hurting, but a sports bar where there's no sports on the TV, except a couple of reruns. And we're not supposed to go out in public, so we're only supposed to, like, I could see this being one of the most challenging restaurant niches right now. So I wrote down a couple of things. Let me help you think of ways, right? So there's no sports. So let's say we use the same example where we're going to give them some kind of package. So I don't know, maybe your wings and what do I usually order when I go to sports bar? Wings and potato skins, I can't remember what they're called, those, or souped up nachos, right? So maybe you have some kind of package. Your consumer is already thinking, why am I gonna go to the sports bar? I can't go to the sports bar, I'm gonna know wings, and I'm gonna give them a reason to stay in your world and think of you, right? So say we have a basketball package tonight. When you order our wings and X, Y, and Z, again, brainstorm what works for your business. And we're gonna give you our 5 favorite basketball movies and 3 places you can find reruns of March Madness online. Give them a reason to stay in your world and remind them of the reason that they love being in your world, because they love sports, because they love the wings and the camaraderie. Like, figure out some things you can do to enhance this experience in this crazy, tumultuous time, right? So you have to figure out what that is for you. Maybe you can tell them your favorite top 10 picks for the upcoming draft. Maybe you can, something that is going to remind them of why they love hanging out at your restaurant, of why you can still connect the sports and the food, right? You're going to have to go above and beyond right now. And I'm going to say it again, don't be afraid to offer discounts. Here's something else. If you refer someone who gives us this code, so we know how to track this stuff, right? Figure out some kind of tracking system. And it can be as easy as give each customer a code. It's a great way to track them and get them coming back. Or you could do it during a Facebook Live. If you get one of your friends to order this package, we will give you XYZ. One of the best things I think restaurants can do right now is to start connecting with their community through lives. Do videos of the chefs in the kitchen. Give us pictures and videos of things that you've never shown us before to remind us that we are all human and we all need jobs and we all need to eat, right? So help them support you by showing what's still going on, right? Don't worry, get the behind the scenes. Make sure you humanize this. We're all trying to struggle through this together. So that's just one small way that I think the restaurants could really help out. Now for your wait staff, and when I mentioned, talk to them, I can give you 50 different ways to talk about on Facebook Lives right now for your industry. Talk about what you're doing in your restaurant. How are you keeping it clean? How are you keeping your employees clean? How, because everybody wants to know that they can run to your restaurant, take something to go, and they're not being exposed to anything, and they're not going to re-expose someone else because they don't have the symptoms. This is what we're all talking about right now. So in delivery, what are you doing for delivery to make sure that your drivers are safe, that their food is safe and it's staying hot? Talk about what methodology you're using, right? This is probably something you have experience with, but as a consumer right now, I really want to hear that message, and you can't say it often enough. So that would be something I'd recommend. Talk about a lot of different ways that you're gonna adjust and you're gonna pivot right now. We want you to stay open. We want to support restaurants, but I also want to know that I matter as a consumer. And so reaching out to me and saying, hey, this is what I'm doing for you. I don't want the emails that say during these times of crisis, I want you to go Facebook Live like this and look me in the eye and say, hey, you matter. My employees matter, my restaurant matters, our community matters. This is what we're doing. And this is how we want to help feed you. We want to help remind you that we're here and help feed our families, right? So I need that connection right now. And I think a lot of consumers probably feel the same way. Now, I'm going to shift a little bit. If you're in a restaurant industry and you want to get on a phone call and brainstorm with me or just shoot me a DM, I'm happy to do that. It's really important for my entrepreneurs to feel supported in this time. So reach out to me. I'm happy to connect. I'm going to jump on really quick and talk about if you have a retail store. A lot of this message is the same. You need to jump in this live right now. So I thought about this. I'm going to use the clothing store as an example because the last thing I have on my mind right now is going clothes shopping. But what I do have on my mind is being entertained. If you haven't heard, a lot of us are at home and we're flipping our phones, we're scanning on Facebook, we're doing all this stuff digitally that we may not have given as much time to because of our regular jobs, right? So if you're in a clothing store, hey guys, thank you, Christina. So hey guys, if you are in a retail store, here's some ideas. You gotta go live. By the time, I'm sorry to say this, but we are coming into the spring season. My guess is, again, retail's not my strong suit, but I know enough about marketing in the industry and how ebb and flow of seasons happens to be able to speak about this in a somewhat educated manner. If this doesn't fit for you, adjust it. Like this isn't a do all end all, you follow this or you're gonna, that's not what I'm trying to push you. What I'm trying to do is give you ideas of how to think and sell still, right? So go live. You know what I would love to watch? An owner in his store or her store literally putting outfits together for me. Be like, hey, because this all, by the time this is all said and done, we're talking maybe 4 weeks, 6 weeks before, and I don't know. This is just my estimate. Best case scenario, 4 to 6 weeks, people will be shopping in your retail store again. What does that mean? You're practically going to be buying for the summer season. Forget spring. I mean, we're what, 5 days is 17th, 4 days away from spring. And by the time this happens, you're going to be stocking for summer. So this inventory is going to be sitting there, right? So let's talk about how, like, let's get it moving. Have your early spring sale, whatever this, because they're not going to be coming through your door. So you're going to have to ship, and you're going to have to start talking to people about what that looks like. I'm just using clothes as an example, but there's lots of different things that you can do, but you have to start thinking of creative ways to turn over this inventory, right? If I had a clothing store, I probably would, and now again, a lot of you are not considered essential. Like they don't, like a lot of the local and national government, national spokespersons have said, if this isn't essential, stay home. So I'm sorry to say the restaurant's probably a little bit more essential than a clothing store, right? So if you have to close, do so. I'm not telling you to break laws or anything like that. But if you can be in your store with the store closed and doing your own, you're not exposing anyone, right? And you're gonna, just bring your camera, do some videos, try some stuff, put some outfits together, offer some deals, talk to people, and start moving some of that inventory. Again, you're gonna probably have to give a discount, but the reality of it is your store is closed and you have no foot traffic. So do a watch party. Do a watch party, have trunk sales. Have your customers pick out some of the stuff they want coming in the summer line. Let them pre-order. There's a lot of things you can do. Again, this isn't my industry. I don't know a lot about it, but I'm sitting at home and I'm bored. And I'm like, well, this is one of my favorite stores. What are they doing? Because you're showing up, you're getting in front of them, you're talking about what's going on and saying, hey, this is what's going on in my world. This stinks because our doors are closed, but I would love your support. And because of that, let's hang out a little bit. Let's drink some wine and sell some clothes and try on some outfits and do something like that. So there's a lot of ways that you can, as a business owner, think outside the box. These are times in the entrepreneurial world and in the world in general that we haven't seen the likes of. So be mindful of what's going on, but also start to think of ways you can shift positions in your business. You can think outside the box in a way that maybe your industry never has had to. If you've never had delivery before, you got to get on it right now. If you're in the clothing and accessories, by the time this rebounds, you're going to be in a new season. So you're going to have to think of getting rid of that inventory sooner than later. If you haven't already thought about it, put some of that stuff online. If you don't have an online store as a say a clothing store, now would be the time. If your doors are closed, you don't have a lot to do, start taking pictures and putting stuff up online. Now, depending on where you are and what's going on, you might have to be mindful to your audience about how long it might take to get there. But to be honest, my last couple of years of wanting that overnight, because Amazon has basically promised us overnight delivery on a lot of things, I feel like I'm a little bit okay with things taking a week, maybe 2 weeks to get here. But it's the experience, giving me something different to do when I know, like, when I don't want my favorite stores to close. I don't want my favorite restaurants to close. So instead of just buying a gift certificate, gift card, this came up recently with the family conversation. Someone said, yeah, they were saying just buy a gift card so they stay afloat. I don't think a $50 gift, I don't feel confident buying a gift card somewhere that I'm not sure they're going to stay open. First of all, I hope they do, but I don't know that that's going to be the case. So being able to take out or have it delivered, yeah, I'll pay for that. I'll get on board, especially if you're coming to me regularly and saying, hey, this is our special, this is going on. But my appetite for this special that you put together, in the same way I said with sports bars and restaurants, give them something more, like a coupon, and hey, these are our favorite sports plays that you can check out, and here's where to do that. You continue to create that environment for them where they're eating wings and watching sports. Same thing with clothes. Like, here's our favorite 10 Grammy moments for, if you're selling high-end gowns or something, like tie in what's going on normally for what you sell, that experience. How can you connect that experience so that your customers still have it going forward? So there's just 2 industries that I wanted to share. There's a gazillion other ones, I know. But if I can help you, if you're in industry and you're in the place of the owner who isn't quite thinking straight because you've got 72 different things to manage in the next hour, but you want to figure out ways to keep your employees, you want to figure out ways to keep selling and promoting and connecting with your audience, please reach out to me. I'm happy to help. It's stressful for all of us in uncertain times, but your consumers haven't gone anywhere. They're just staying home. I know some people are mindful of their wallets right now because they're not sure about jobs and whatnot, but I think if we look at the bigger picture, taking care of our community, taking care of the people around us, we really want to do that. Most people want to help one another. So I'm here to help you. Reach out to me. I'd love to support you. And I'm going to probably keep doing more brainstorming for businesses as these ideas pop into my head. But I wanted to give you a perspective of brainstorming for positive results instead of worrying about potential negative results. So let's keep moving forward. Let's keep supporting each other and reach out to me if I can help. Thank you everyone for joining me. And thank you on Facebook. I hope that helps. Reach out to me if I can be a better support and service to you. Keep rocking it, entrepreneurs.